It's 107.7 The Bone, baby Huey and Bimbo Jimbo here. Jimbo, we made the trip across the country from the Bay Area. We're here live in New Orleans for WrestleMania week, WrestleMania 34 this Sunday on the WWE Network.
As the New Day walks by.
New Day walks by. We just had a fun
Let's just get a little love from New Day?
Yeah, we saw them yesterday. We were having some Snickers and we were talking WrestleMania 34. But right now, we are so pleased to be joined by the lovely, the talented, the amazing broadcaster for WWE, Renee Young. How are you? Welcome to NOLA.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm doing amazing. I love this city. And we were just saying with the food, it's a slippery slope, but man, am I having a time.
Yeah, no, I think if I lived here, I mean, as viewers, I already have a little bit of problem, controlling myself, self-control. If I lived in New Orleans, I'd be 800 pounds.
No,
I mean,
it's tough.
It's the best food city
it's all right there.
But what's been the vibe like for you? I know you said you got in on Wednesday, and just so take us through what it's been like in terms of like sort of did you beat the calm, before the storm kind of deal?
I did. So yeah, we got in Wednesday. Wednesday was like my day of chaos of like girl stuff that I had to do, get my nails done, try to figure out some semblance of a tan, get in some kind of a workout, just kind of get situated a little bit, because I knew that Wednesday was kind of my only real day to get that done, which was also the only day to just kind of like hang out and enjoy New Orleans a little bit before the chaos sort of started. And then now we're kind of in the swing of things and getting ready for Hall of Fame a little bit later today, and then getting kind of sorted with that. Got to get a dress, get that figured out, and then get ready for Sunday.
Well, I was going to say, just for you, for Hall of Fame tonight, who are you most excited to see go in tonight into the ceremony?
Mark Henry for me.
Really?
Yeah, I love Mark. He's a good friend, so I think like seeing him and seeing him and Big Show together, I think will be really, really cool. So yeah, definitely Mark for me.
So with that, as you said, he's a friend. So how privy were you to sort of get to see sort of his reaction to this? I mean, obviously, probably not live in the moment when he found out, or maybe I don't know.
I was not with him. No,
but,
unfortunately, I was not.
But that's sort of the thing you see in like all these other sports too, is like when you get the call and stuff like that. What it felt like, and just so what's it been like as one of your friends, like talking to him about how he feels going in? I mean, what a huge thing for him.
You know what? I actually haven't had a chance to fully talk to him. Like I sent him a congratulatory text, but I haven't even run into him out here yet. So I haven't got to have that conversation. But I mean, just knowing Mark, I know he's going to give a hell of a speech. I'm hoping he's going to wear the salmon jacket.
Probably going to make everybody cry.
100%. Without question, Mark's going to make people cry.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's got up his sleeve for tonight. That's tonight.
Yeah,
my schedule's all over the place,
I'm totally with. There's so much going on here for WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans. How many WrestleManias is this for you now?
This is 6 for me.
Wow, that was quick.
I know, it is so crazy how quickly the time goes by. I feel like it was like, in like my mind, it feels like I've worked here for like 2-3 years. I can't believe that it's been double that.
Yeah.
Triple that. It's a lot.
It's been an incredible run for you, and we're so happy that you've stuck around. And I feel like you keep getting more and more opportunities. Part of my background is in the NBA and stuff like that. So, and this is meant as the utmost compliment. But I look at you as sort of like a Doris Burke for professional wrestling.
All right.
And
Hell yeah, Doris.
Yeah, she's terrific. I think you're awesome, and she is now getting these opportunities that have sort of never been afforded to women before. As she's now an analyst, on the biggest games, the biggest stage, and everything like that. That is something that, as a fan of the product, that when I watch you and I see how gifted you are with the microphone and everything like that, is that something that you aspire to? Could we see a Renee Young as one of the voices of, say, a SmackDown Live or a Monday Night Raw or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, I think that opportunity is so it's not something that I initially ever started out thinking that I wanted to do, and then I did dip my toe in doing it a little bit, doing NXT and doing main event.
You're very good.
But I didn't feel like I was. I felt like it just wasn't my natural headspace. But I feel like now, the more time that I've spent in the company and the more comfortable I am kind of knowing the ins and outs of navigating what exactly it would entail to do commentary, and especially with my good pal over here, Corey Graves, who's just over there.
He's in camouflage.
Exactly. He is in camouflage right now. If it was like something with him and I just have a natural rapport, so it would just be an interesting dynamic. So when I was done doing commentary, I was kind of like, whew, breath of relief. I don't know what I got into with that, but now that time has kind of passed, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I would be into trying it again and just kind of seeing where it goes and knowing like what my role is in the company now is different than it was then, and I think my comfortability is a lot different as well. So I'd be more into trying stuff. I think I felt like I was on a bit of a tightrope at the time, and it would be, I think it's turned into a bit more of a wider walkway.
We're in a history-making time for
are.
women in the country and in WWE especially. I mean, I think it's if there was a time, I would say it is now.
I should knock on Vince's door.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I think
I
so.
should knock on his door.
And you tell him I don't think we're alone in this, but you have a lot of fans that want to see that happen.
Thanks.
So I think that would be awesome. How did you get into this in general, though? What was your background, and how did you end up in this crazy world?
It's one of those like interesting things where you just kind of end up where you're supposed to end up, I think. Like, I wasn't necessarily on my radar when I was like a kid to be like, oh, that's what I want to do working for WWE, but I always knew that I wanted to be a performer and an entertainer. So I went more of the acting comedy route. Like, right out of high school, I did Second City, and I was taking a bunch of acting classes, and I went more that aspect of it, and then got into hosting more in like a roundabout way of merely a means to make money, because when I was waiting to audition for acting roles and stuff in Toronto, I was like, I can just take a camera and host something on my own and make my own content. And then that just kind of led me to a plethora of different things. It led me to working for a sports network in Canada and turning that into like a comedy sports thing. They've all been like little melds of things. And then it started to be a wrestling show there that I was doing, to then getting the call to come work here.
What was that like?
It was interesting because I didn't know, I had no idea what I was going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that I would be coming in to do something more similar to what I was doing in Canada as like a hosting role and like doing more of like a talking smack or whatever, which eventually we got there. But, you know, when I first started, I wasn't really sure exactly what my spot was going to be when I was doing backstage interviews. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And kind of becoming more of a character a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was an interesting thing when I got that call to come in here, and I went into my audition, which I thought was quite terrible. I didn't think I did that well, because I did. They put me through like the gamut that.
Did they make you sell a pen?
They made me sell. It wasn't a pen. It wasn't a pen. It was like a battery box or something.
Okay.
Like, sell me this, and I was like, oh my god, no! Please don't make me do this. But I did like do that, and then I did do like a talk show kind of setup, and then I did a commentary run through, and that was a terrifying moment for me.
So for anyone that's just curious, so when you got the call, was it something like, do you send like an audition tape to WWE, or did they find you? Or
no, yeah, it was so the network that I worked for in Canada was in direct relation with WWE, so they knew the show that I was doing. They knew that I knew the content and the brand and everything.
Like an affiliation with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So it was a kind of little friend passed off. My contract was up there, and I moved on over here.
You mentioned talking smack a moment ago.
Oh yes.
And so I have to bring up the most infamous, went viral moment in talking smack history, which was the Miz and Daniel Bryan going at it. What was that like for you? How much of that was just off the rails, like real in the moment? What can you tell us about that? Because it's so memorable.
It was It is very memorable, and it was such a cool moment to be a part of, especially for somebody like Miz, and seeing where that kind of catapulted him again.
Absolutely.
Like, it was just such a interesting medium, I guess, because we were pretty new at doing talking smack when that happened, and working within the all right, here we go, we're going to be live, and let's kind of see what is going to happen. But yeah, it definitely got a little hot under the collar. I think I was actually red and nervous. I'm like, oh my god, what's happening? Like, I was so wrapped up in the whole thing, and it was
You're kind of like Aaron Andrews' moment with when Richard Sherman's going off in a post-game interview. You were trying to hang with, though, and I remember you're this is really not what it's supposed to be about.
Yeah.
So how much of that was, were you trying to sort of save it, or were you what was your mindset, or you were just let him go?
I guess it was a thing of trying to save it. Trying to save the situation of what was happening, also knowing what a sensitive subject everything was for Bryan at the time too, of him not being able to wrestle and where he was at, and I knew that was obviously a very sensitive subject for him. So as a friend, I wanted to swoop in to be like, hey man, leave my buddy alone,
totally.
Not a cool situation. So it was kind of more from that standpoint of seeing how real those emotions were and where they were taking it. I didn't know what was.
So
how
real was that? In between the two of them, afterward.
Oh yeah, it's a thing. It's
was it just sort of pushing one another to sort of find this level, or was it hey dude, you crossed a line?
I think that they're both the utmost professionals, and they kind of handle those things. Those things seem to pop up here and there, throughout people's careers, so they just kind of handle it in a way that best suits them.
Wow. Okay. Well, just speaking of Daniel Bryan, okay, so within the last couple weeks, he got cleared to compete again. So just your thoughts of your former co-host, now being able to compete this Sunday at WrestleMania.
I could not be happier for Bryan and for Brie and for their whole family. I mean, it's just such a cool moment. I was in the locker room in Dallas when the text came out, or like the WWE update, and I was like, oh my God. I like freaked out, and everyone in the room was like, what? I'm like, Bryan just got cleared. Holy crap. So yeah, it was like such an elated moment of like seeing that dream come back for him, and like seeing that perseverance of him, like really wanting to get back in the ring, finding a way, and then he's there and he's done it, and now he gets to be back in the ring, wrestle in WrestleMania. Like it's such a full circle fairy tale story. It makes me so happy for him. I can't even imagine.
Well, especially because he's coming back to New Orleans, where 4 years ago,
WrestleMania won.
Yes.
I know. Yeah. So I think that's just such a cool moment for the fans, and I think that's going to be probably one of the highlights of this weekend.
Yeah. Oh my God, without question, it was just such an unexpected thing that I think everyone just took it off the table, and then to have that flip back around and open that door, it's like, wait, WWE gets Daniel Bryan in the ring again?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and
not just
Angle?
for like a one-off. This is not like
No,
oh, I'm coming back for this thing.
It's
he's
not a
back.
novelty match.
Yeah.
It's like, he's back. I can't wait to see what he's going to do, because even that first night in the ring with Kevin and Sami Zayn, when he like fired up, it's like, oh damn, Bryan's not messing around right now. He's got all those pent up, energy and emotions. Crazy.
And as weird as it is to say, it was for me as such a huge fan of Bryan and everything like that, to see him sort of take the pop-up powerbomb in the apron. I was like,
oh my God,
I know.
He can do this though.
Ooh.
Like that to me was like, okay, so he's back.
Ooh, that scared me.
So we got a couple more for you. So Renee, I have to ask you this. So we know how much of an awesome job you do, but for just kind of like maybe the casual fan out there, I think for you, what do you describe how important your role is? Because I see you're like our generation's Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah,
so
I love that. That's so sweet.
So just
Mean Jane.
Yeah. So
that is my middle name.
So I'm just curious, like, describe how important your role is in those interview segments, and just I think what you add to just the whole TV viewing experience.
Yeah, for me, doing backstage interviews and trying to take a page out of Gene's book and being able to add something, because a lot of times, I know the backstage interviewers, we get this whole rap of being robots and not having any emotion, and somehow that's kind of done by design in some odd way, but I do feel like being able to get like sort of that little bit ahead of that curve is that I do get to have these reactions, and I do get to kind of have moments with people backstage, but it's done in such a subtle way that I think it does help. Of like, it's so funny, I always get like message people are like, ooh, you really watch the way Roman Reigns walks off? I'm like, yeah, it's on purpose. I do that on purpose. I do that for real. But yeah, it's like just to be able to help somebody, or to guide somebody along that might not be as comfortable in a situation like that, and to let them know that if all else fails, we'll figure it out.
Yes.
We're all
walk
safe.
them through it.
Exactly. I'll walk you guys through it, get you there. But yeah, and then even being able to like step in and take doing an interview with a Cena, or it's I don't really know how to like describe like my importance of what I do. I can tell you how much fun I have doing those things. Of like, even like me coming from more of an acting background, it's nice to feel like you can give something back to somebody a little bit and be there with them rather than
forward.
Well, it's like rather than just asking a question and like being vacant and not paying attention. It's nice to be there with somebody and give them something back. I would get that a lot working with Paul Heyman when I first started, because him and I would have all these different backstage things that we would do, and it'd get super, super intense. But we always had this thing where we would just kind of give it back to each other, even if it was just like looking each other in the eyes and like certain facial things that we would do. But yeah, those are like the more fun things for me when I get to, or Samoa Joe's talking trash to me.
That is
Jerk.
awesome. I know, big jerk.
A jerk.
Listen, Renee, I know you got a busy schedule ahead of you, so we want to thank you so much for making the time today. So we encourage all of our listeners, tune in this Sunday for WrestleMania 34 live on the WWE Network. Subscribe, WWE.com, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
We're big fans.
You're gonna kill it.
Yeah, and you're going to do an awesome job.
If
Keep
not,
doing
I'll send you my resume.
WWE Doris Burke right here, Renee Young.
You can call me Mean Doris.
Yeah, Mean Doris, Mean Jane. You're doing great work. Thank you so much,
Thank
Renee.
you.
Thank you.